All right, so we are gonna switch it up right now. I'm gonna tell you a fight story, but a fight story that's more embarrassing than anything else, okay? So here's the actual premise of this story I'm about to tell you. This is the most ashamed my dad has ever been of me ever, okay? Now, it's not gonna be as dramatic as it sounds because I was around 14 years old at the time, but yeah, so my dad, if I ever bring this incident up, still to this day, my dad's eyes will literally almost roll through the back of his head, but I figured you guys might get a kick out of it. So I was small when I was growing up. I was not the diesel piece of steel that you see in front of you now. I was a riddle. I was a little guy, but I had a lot of moxie for a little guy, a lot of fire, almost like I was making up for something, you know? Like, I really didn't like when people pressed me in any capacity, especially when I was playing sports. And I was a soccer player. I played baseball, I swam, I played tennis, I played soccer, I played basketball, I did all kinds of stuff. But especially in soccer, I did not do well when people would intentionally bump into me or would slide tackle me or basically do anything aggressive where I felt like they had touched me in a manner I didn't like, okay? So I didn't play football because my mom thought that I would fold my knee in half or get concussed or I don't know, whatever. She's a hippie. So, but in soccer, you know, a lot more contact than people give it credit for whatever reason in this country. And I used to get in a lot of, like, not fights so much early on, like when I was like 10 years old is when it really started, but a lot of like, this guy bumped me, I'm gonna go slide tackle him completely intentionally from behind. I'm not even gonna pretend like I tried to get the ball. I'm just going to basically attack the guy while semi looking like I'm playing soccer, but not even really trying that hard, okay? So that was basically my MO from about 10 years old until I graduated high school. I would Pepsi challenge anyone against how many red cards I got in my career, okay? I got kicked out of so many games that I am not joking. I do not know the number, okay? And we're not talking like 15 or something, but we certainly are talking like 6 to 7, okay? Think of how many people have 6 to 7 red cards from age 10 to 18, right? Maybe 8. I don't. Nah, if I was honestly gonna guess, I would say 6 to 7. Okay, maybe 8 actually. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So this is the moment that was the most ashamed my father's ever been of me. Now, just to level set. Okay, so like I said, I used to slide tackle people. I used to just go smash into them. You know, like if someone took the ball from me and they bumped me when they did it, I would literally just go look at that person, and the next time they got anywhere near the ball, I would literally just beeline and just boo. And I would just throw my shoulder into them, like from behind, you know, like they wouldn't see me coming. Complete cheap shots, like just a little weasel, tiny little kid who was really, really angry if I felt like you banged me off the ball or did anything that was kind of taking advantage of my size. So this one, I mean, I feel like I should give you more context. I remember the first time I got a yellow card, I was so proud. Like, I was so proud because that, like, you know, first of all, by the time I was 18, I wasn't small anymore. But, like, when I was, like, you know, 10 to, like, 12, like, I was a smaller kid to the point where other guys on my team would get yellow cards. And I wasn't sure I was able to get a yellow card because I was so small. I didn't know if I could, like, do enough damage to a person with a slide tackle or bang them to where they would even notice me to give me a yellow card, right? Like, that's seriously, like, in my mind, what's going on. Also, I was on a team of guys who were, like, my friends, like local friends. We were going through a weird phase. Like, you know, we are from Walnut Creek, if you know that area. But during that period, we were wearing blue bandanas at our games, all of us, you know, because, you know, we just wanted to let the other team know, like, we're banging blue, yo. We're banging blue. So anyway, the first time I got a yellow card, I was so stoked. Like, I was so stoked. And the first time I got a red card, same. Now, the first time I got a red card, I got it because I got a yellow card and I just kept on smashing into people from behind and kept on, you know, like I did so many times. I got so many warnings that the ref was like, dude, you're gone. Like, enough. Get out of here, little man. But all of this just basically is leading up to that. By the time I was 14, me getting kicked out of games was not something funny anymore. And it was, I mean, you know, it's not like my parents never were like, geez, why do you play like that? It wasn't like that, but it wasn't like amusing. Like there was no, wow, look how brave you were. Okay, like, that was not a thing. So I was playing on a team in Danville, and Danville is the little schnobby ritzy kids, like even, you know, worse than Walnut Creek, the schnobby ritzy kids. I played on teams, like I played on the DVSC Machine, which is a club team that was I was the only, me and this guy Peter Crumshaw are the only white dudes on the team. We used to go on tournaments, and like literally the entire team is all Mexican. Like all of them spoke Spanish to each other, and then it would just be me and this dude Peter Crumshaw. We would walk around. These guys were getting fights all the time. Like, you know, this is before I was getting in fights. I was, you know, younger. Like, dude, there's a guy, like, these guys had tattoos. They were like 16 years old. They had like tattoos on their chest. One guy had a tattoo that said "Try Me" on his chest. This, you know, this Mexican dude, this 16. And one time we were at a hotel, and he literally like choked some kid from a game. Like, we had played him in a game that day. We were all staying at the same hotel, and he found him. He's like, "That's that kid from the game." And so we're following him, just kind of like, whoa, this is an interesting National Geographic experience. Let's see what this crazy gangster on our team's gonna do. He literally just walked right up to these guys that we had played against and just grabbed one of them that he didn't like and grabbed him by the throat and then threw him against the wall. The guy looked like he was the most scared he's ever been in his entire life. And then he was just kind of like, yeah, you remember that. It's like, cool. Anyway, whatever. Bottom line, I played on all sides of the tracks in my soccer career. But at this point, I was playing for Danville with the, you know, pansy rich kids. So we were playing against a team in Livermore, if you guys know where that is. And long story short, there was a guy on their team who was he was a big forward. Like, he was big and kind of like hunched over, but he was pretty fast, but he banged on people. Like, he would just smash into people. He was really fast. And, you know, like, you'd send a ball far and he would like, you know, he would run, and like if there was a defender coming, he loved to like try to smash him off the ball. He was just one of these guys, right? So I had kind of banged him a little bit, you know, defenders had banged him a little bit. I played midfield, and at some point during the game, I was out of the game at this point, okay? So I'm on the sideline, right? So this guy has the ball, and one of our defenders slide tackles him. And when they both get up, the dude, the guy that he slide tackled just punched our guy. Right? So it is on, I mean, like when I say it's on the other side of the field, I'm talking like not just the other side of the field, like basically the furthest point on the field possible from where I was standing. Okay. It was like across the entire field, over in the corner, like nowhere near me. Right? I'm not in the game. Right? I'm on the sideline. So when that guy hit my boy, I obviously, you know, a fight broke out. It wasn't even that big of a fight, but like a fight broke out. And so I, you know, was beelining over there, literally like the fastest I've ever run in my entire life. It was like, you know, let's do this. And I still remember this, like I have an absolutely perfect image of this in my mind. So I get to where I'm probably around 20 yards away. Right? Picture what 20 yards looks like, right? And I can already see this is getting, like, this is broken up. Like, this is over, basically, right? Like, this fight's over, okay? So imagine how long it takes a 14-year-old who's pretty fast to run 20 yards, right? Think about that time, right? She's talking like, well, let me think, 40-yard dash. So, yeah, I mean, you're talking like a good, like, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, something like that, right? So the fight's completely over. Like, that much time over, everyone is calm, and I come beelining in, and like a heat-seeking missile, I jumped in the air, and I jump kicked the guy who had punched the guy on our team, just directly in the chest, like ran directly at him, like, and I still remember, like, I remember him looking at me and him trying to like figure out like what the hell is this kid doing, like, because that's how over the fight was like. There's no way that this guy's gonna do anything. Like, the fight's over. Like, everyone stop fighting now. Little did he know, I was a psychopath. I literally jumped my full body in the air, cleats up, and just kicked him directly in the chest. And he fell, and I fell on top of him, whatever. And obviously I got red carded and suspended for like, you know, 3 games or whatever. But so nothing even happened. Like, I jump kicked him, he fell, and then, you know, so the ref came and grabbed me, and like, the fight didn't start again, you know, fight was over, I jump kicked the dude, still over. And so everybody's going back, you know, like a couple guys on our team also got red cards, so it was like, I think 3 of us total got kicked out, a couple guys over there. And I will never forget this, like when we were walking back to the sideline, I felt this very clear energy from the entire group of parents that were like, of all the people involved in this, there was one villain, and it was me. Okay, like they did not see what I had done as defending Dan Dowd, the fullback that was on our team. Okay, what they saw was an absolute imbecile who for no reason whatsoever, had jump kicked some guy in the chest in the middle of a soccer game between two 14-year-old teams from affluent neighborhoods. Oh man, it's so fucking stupid. So they game's over. Like they literally like they're like, this game's a wrap. Like we didn't even finish the game. So we're walking back to the car, and my dad was just like he literally like he was so mortified and so mad he wouldn't even talk to me. We get into the car. It's like a 35-minute ride home. The entire time he was just like, "Do you know how stupid you looked? Like do you understand how ridiculous you looked? The fight was over, okay? Who do you think you're impressing with that? What were you doing? What were you thinking? Honestly, what were you thinking?" You know, and at the beginning of the ride, I'm going, he punched my friend, you know? I had to do it to defend my friend. Some guy who's on my team I'm not even friends with, like, at all. I wasn't friends with this dude at all. He's just a guy on my team. But that doesn't matter. That actually was legit. Dude punched a guy on our team. I'm gonna go fight. I mean, even at age 14, as you know, I was getting a little bigger at that point. Like, that's inevitable, man. You punch one of my buddies, I'm gonna fight. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I just wish the fight would have still been happening when I got over there to fight. But man, if I brought that up to him right now, he would literally just be like, ugh. Like, I actually wouldn't do it. Like, he would get angry. Like, he would find a reason to get angry with me right now about something completely unrelated, just because of the like leftover feelings that would conjure up in him because he hated that moment that much. So yeah, that's a little change of pace. 14-year-old kicking kids. Really embarrassing and super dumb. But yeah, so heat-seeking missile, 14-year-old moron kicked out of the game. I got kicked out of plenty more games. Plenty more. You know what? I take it back. This is not the end of the game. This is not the end of the story. Let me tell you the last time that I got kicked out of a game, because this was even stupider, okay? So, when I was a senior in high school, right? I went to De La Salle High School. Maybe you've heard of it. Top 1 school in the country for athletics. And my senior year, going into my senior year, we were obviously a top-ranked soccer team. Like, in the state, we were a super legit squad. So, obviously, I was, a starter, like a very important player on the team. And in our last preseason game, before the real season started, we were playing against a team from San Ramon, Danville, where I happened to, years before that, this whole thing. And these guys started heckling me on their side, San Ramon. It's called San Ramon, but it's actually in Danville. And they started heckling me. And they were just yelling my name, or my number. They just kept yelling my number, right? So, being unable to accept things like that, as we've discussed, I ended up going and to a kid who I later found out was a freshman, who was like basically like their, enigma freshman player who was on varsity. They were a good team too. He got the ball on the sideline right next to these guys, like right next to the dudes who had been, very vocally yelling at me. And I crushed this kid. I crushed this fucking kid. And then I stood over him. And I looked at the guys on the sideline and I was like, and I just pointed at him, like, this is what you made me do. And then I got kicked out of the game and got suspended for the first 2 games of the regular season. So, if you think the move's gangster, that I annihilated the kid and then pointed at the guys who were talking to me, I agree. Pretty gangster move. Right up until I got red carded and then got suspended for the first 2 games of the season. And I went back over to the bench. I was so mad, dude. And I just went, bah! Punched the bench, the whole 9 yards. Completely embarrassing. Like an absolute idiot. Completely out of control of my emotions. But, crushing the kid and then pointing at the guys, that was pretty gangster. But anyway, so, yeah, now the story's actually over. So, go back to doing what you were doing. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. Let's go.